quite honestly, there are a lot of success stories. I'm happy to say that. Um, I think one that comes to mind was one that happened recently. I was invited to be on a podcast by an individual who was an ally to the trans community, and her audience was trans individuals who found themselves somewhere in the process of their transition journey. And just so happens during this podcast, there was an individual that in the audience, and she was at the beginning of her transition, and she actually reached out to me after that podcast and told me that she bought my book and that she was really grateful for the book because it really supported her where she was. And she was in the process of coming out to her employer and had not taken those courageous steps yet and was at the very beginning of this process and reached out to us and said, "Hey, I would love for you to come to our company and do a training with our company." And because of that podcast engagement, I'm always a believer that there are no mistakes along the way. But because of that engagement, that individual made it possible for us to show up in her workplace and train her company on how to create a space where she can show up authentically in that workplace. And that just gave me a sense of joy and accomplishment that, and oftentimes I say all of our superpowers is our visibility. We never know whose life we're touching when we show up. And it was just by me showing up in that podcast that allowed me to set that, not only that individual, but that company up for success as it relates to how she shows up in the workplace. So I found that very rewarding.